Hello, everybody. We are jumping on pretty quickly today. Well, this week. It's been a long week. It's only Monday at the time of recording this video, but yeah, we just want to go straight to some updates and kind of let y'all know where we're at. But before we do that, I just wanted to kind of touch base on some personal updates, just kind of talking to you guys about how we're doing and what it's kind of been being separated from each other. So I finally got a room, which you're kind of seeing it right now, but I am staying with a family member, which is better than where I was at Juarez, which I was staying by myself. But as you know, home is home, and I need my family, which is with Britzy. And I don't know if Britt, you want to say how you're doing and how it's been for you on the other side.
Clearly, this is week 3 of being separate from Alfredo, and I've been a little bit of an emotional wreck, not gonna lie. Especially this week. I feel like the first 2 weeks I was like holding it together. I was maybe in a state of shock, but also in a state of, okay, I gotta get the ball rolling. I have commitments that I have to fulfill. And I just didn't want to slow down, I guess, to feel it. Don't get me wrong, I was crying still.
But after like 2 days or 3 days, I'm like, okay, I need to get out. I need to be around people. I need to be around community.
I have more responsibility on me right now, and I'm having to show up to things and keep things going on this side while he's over there. And that was a big adjustment because clearly Alfredo, like always, he always makes my life easier, and he would obviously take on more responsibility when he was here, and I was more so on the back burner and, you know, doing small details. But
I'm so thankful for my village. I could get emotional just talking about it because God has graced me with beautiful people in my life.
I feel like God has really put me in such a humbling place where I'm having to reach out to people, to my village, to my community, and tell them, hey, I'm struggling. Hey, I need help.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to get in the negative side, but it's hard not to see the obvious and start to, and that's something that the enemy is trying to do to us mentally, or not even, or at least to me, I feel like it's so easy to get caught up with looking at our timeline of hardship. We've been through the Abel situation. We went through this after that, and then we dealt with some stuff privately, and then dealing with the aftermath of trauma and dealing with the loss, and then you got other stuff that we'll talk later about. But then you have this now come into the picture, and now you're in this mindset of it's you know, it's so easy to feel bad for yourself, and that's something that I'm definitely not trying to do, trying to stay positive, and sometimes I'm having to believe it for myself because it's definitely creating some more isolation. And I already thought, you know, God, why am I now dealing with more isolation? But I truthfully believe that God is trying to teach me a much deeper relationship with him, and I wouldn't be able to do that back at home. And something that I'm learning from being away from each other is that it's really teaching me how to just, the real definition of how to just sit and be, because I have so much of that time now for me. And it's so hard for me because I'm a go-getter. I like to be around. I like to move around. I like to do a lot of hands-on when it comes to being back at home. And so I'm not used to being on the back burner, even on our business side of things. The more I focus on the time, the more longer it feels, and it just starts to become very tormenting in my mind. So I try to look at it as, once I made it through a day, God, I'm just thankful that I made it through this day, and I did not, some days I was close to losing my mind, but at the end of the day, I still have not lost my mind completely. And it's a day closer to being able to be with Britzy again.
I feel like God is really working on my Godfidence this season. For example, I feel like sometimes I would hide a lot behind Alfredo and one, in our business, and two, in our relationship. I would maybe be too codependent on him, to where I would kind of be like, oh, I have this issue, could you fix it for me? And that could quickly turn toxic and unhealthy. And I'm learning now that only God could fix certain issues, and only God could fill this void inside of me.
I mean, it's testing my faith. In another level, clearly Abel's journey was a test of faith, and even more than that, but it's definitely pulling on my faith in a sense. And
something we got to definitely mention is, sorry to cut you off, but Britzy is not driving at the moment still, because that's a whole nother situation. But I do believe through pressure, how do diamonds get formed? And we're in that season right now. It's a lot of pressure. Britzy's having to step out and asking for help. If she may not be able to drive right now, but she's having to speak out, and I need a ride here, I need a ride there. And that's something that's very uncomfortable for her. And for me, learning to really learn how to be by myself. I was always afraid of being by myself, and I didn't know how to be with just myself, and even in his presence.
My soul may feel tired and exhausted and weary. My spirit may feel weary too. But even if the Lord just giving me a word, even if I will continue to have hope, we will continue to praise him, because he's good all the time. And don't get me wrong, there's been crappy days, to say the least. There's no other way than to put it. There's been crappy days, but even in those days, I'm still alive. We're still healthy. There's still reasons to give God the glory, and we're going to continue to do so. We're going to remain hopeful.
We'll vlog some of our daily stuff and just kind of what we're dealing with in our lives. But for now, we just wanted to, I know we said quickly, but I think we hadn't really talked about how we've been feeling. But I wanted to just jump into now just on the logistics side of things, and just kind of what's happening with the lawyers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, we received today a news from the new lawyer, and he mentioned that he is not able to help us, and that it may be better to just wait for that year. Definitely not something I wanted to hear. I want to say I respect this new lawyer's honesty. He could have easily just, he could have said something else, but I genuinely respected his truth, that he didn't feel too confident or hopeful, or let's say a better word. Let's say exactly what he said. He felt like this was not something he believed he could do. And I respect that. At the time of recording this video, we originally had a plan A, but that's something that we're gonna have to hold off on talking about on maybe our next video, just because we still have to do some homework, and we also need to talk in private about some things. But if all goes well, we're still optimistic about things. There's still, just because a door closes doesn't mean that could potentially be another door open. So I don't want to close off on it and just say it's over. Even though a year is not long, it's really not. But for us, for our responsibilities, for what I have at home and everything that I have for the upcoming year, I need to be home as soon as possible. So if I could do it in 6 months, I'll do it. If I can do it 8, I mean, even better than I'm just trying to get home as soon as possible. So it's not that a year is the end of the world. I mean, it feels like it, but it's really not. But going back to our plan A, we still have a direction, but we need to keep praying about it and just staying hopeful. I think it can work. I believe that it will, but there needs to be maybe some more updates on the next video.
Yeah, I agree, and we just want to ask you guys for your prayers.
And this is a learning experience for us as individuals and for us as a marriage unit. And it's been a learning experience. It's only been 3 weeks, but girl, I've been learning so much. And I'm so thankful for the village that is behind us, for our community here on YouTube. We just want to ask you guys for prayers, for peace in our minds and our hearts, for strength to carry on, and overall for God to make a way, because I just know God is going to make a way to reunite us sooner than the year.